Okay, let's see now two-dimensional state of stress. So in two-dimensional state of stress, what you will get, any stress along Z must be 0. Only this thing you should keep in mind. So what does it mean? It means that what you have written, the stress tensor, you had written sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma zz. So in this you have written, this was tau xy, tau xz. This was tau yx, this was tau yz. This was tau zx, tau zy, and this. So any term which is containing the possible value of z. So this term you need to remove because here z, z and z, and this term also you need to remove because z, z. So if these terms are gone, so this will be your two-dimensional state of stress. This will be your two-dimensional, or it is also known as planar state of stress. This will be two-dimensional or planar state of stress. Now, if you want to represent it in the diagram, then how to go for that? Then let us draw that cube again. Now we need to mention only that part in which we have this is sigma xx, this is sigma yy. Now the z terms we need to remove, so we can still mention this value which was tau xy and this value which is tau yx, but not the z direction. Z direction we have to eliminate. So this is three-dimensional view, but because there is no z axis now, so instead of this cube we need to go for a plate. So that is better representation of this. So this we can simplify, and what we will be doing, we will be taking a plate kind of thing which is subjected to the normal stresses like this. In this direction sigma xx. Now we can represent this direction also. This will be sigma xx at the back of it, right? And then here it is sigma yy, and this is also sigma yy. But now we need not to mention this is two-dimensional. For two-dimensional, no need to write this yy again, because sigma y means it is along y, sigma x means it is along x, right? But yes, you need to mention this tau xy, and then there will be this shear stress. So this will be tau xy and this will be tau xy. Now because both are same, so I am writing it same. Simplified view will be this. This is our state of stress. But these shear stresses will always be in. So if this side stress is there, shear stress, this side also you need to show. This side shear stress is there, this side also you need to show. So like this will be your state of stress, right? Now our objective is to find out that, okay fine, if this member is subjected in this manner of stresses, then how this member is going to fail, So for example, let me give you now suppose I have this piece of paper, right? So which we can replicate with our element, right? Let us take this piece of paper. When I apply forces on this element in random direction, now ideally I should be stretching it like this, I should be stretching it like this. Normally if I have one or two people, I ask them to come up and apply forces from all the directions. So I will be doing it at some inclined angle. So let me apply some force and see what happens to this element. Oh, very strong. This is stress concentration. This is not going to work. This is stress concentration only. So let me fold it one more time. Let me fold it from here also, so that I can minimize the effect of stress concentration, right? Yeah. Now let's see what happens. Oh, like this, right? So now this is what we have got, right? So if I put in this way, like this, then how do we know that this element is going to fail from this position? Why not like this? Why not like this? Why we can say that this element is going to be fail like this? So the major part will be, look at this point, this point. Here the normal stress value along this plane will be more than the strength of this. That is the reason it has started breaking from here. Now this is our objective. We need to predict this plane at what angle the normal stress will be maximum. This is very important, that what analysis we are going to do. So for this two-dimensional element, what we are going to do, our analysis is for to predict the plane of failure, or we can say the plane at which maximum normal stress will act, right? This will be the plane of failure, and normal or maximum normal stress. This is our main objective. In addition to it, we can find out maximum value of shear stress also. So many other things are there which we can find out, but our main objective for analysis is to predict the plane of failure, at what angle it will fail, and when it will fail, what will be the maximum value of normal stress which it can sustain. So these two things we are going to predict. Now what will be our approach? So our approach will be like, we are considering this plane. So we have to start with respect to some reference plane. So let us take this plane as our reference plane. This will be our reference plane for all the problems of complex stress and strain. This is our reference plane. Now what we will do, we will cut a random section. Now this section, it doesn't seems to be random. Let me show you like this. We will cut a random section like this. At what angle? At theta angle from the reference plane. And then we will see how much normal stress is acting on that plane. First we will get that normal stress as a function of theta. Steps will be, first take reference plane. Second step will be to Draw FBD of any one part by cutting the element at an angle theta from the reference plane. So this will be our next step, that we need to select the reference plane. Once sorry, so the first step is we need to first select the reference plane. Once we select the reference plane, then we need to cut the element in two parts at an angle theta from reference plane, and we can draw FBD of any one part. And then what we have to do, and then the third step will be find sigma as a function of theta. So that is normal stress at an angle theta. Then use d sigma by d theta equal to 0. This is mathematical. If you want to find maximum value of y, so how will you do it? You will differentiate it with respect to something, and then they put that value again. So this you need to find out for sigma max, right? So this will give you the information about how much normal stress is there, and meanwhile when we will differentiate it with respect to theta, we will get the angle for which this will be maximum. So this is basically going to be our approach in this particular question. You please note it down, and then we will start from there again. You please note this. First you note this, please. So I will be starting from the free body diagram of this. This is the free body diagram. I will take up half part and I will start the analysis. Please note this. Now we will start with the half part of diagram. So this seems to be like this, our element. We will name it A, or C, and this will be B. Now this we have taken as our reference plane. This is reference plane. Here this angle is theta. Now this is sigma x, this is sigma y, but at the same time there are this stress is tau xy, and this stress is again the same tau xy. So I am not going to write that again. This is also tau xy. Now for this we need to use the force equilibrium. So how we can convert it to the force? So for force we need to multiply by area. Now let us take this thickness into the consideration. So let us take this thickness is T. So that means now we need to mention the force. So this sigma x, this area is how much? AB into T. So into AB into T. Then tau xy, this area is again AB into T. Now here sigma y into CB into T, and this tau xy I have not mentioned here, but now I need to mention this tau xy. This is tau xy into CB into T if this thickness is T. Now to balance these forces, there will be at this plane some stresses. So the perpendicular stress we will say this is sigma, and the tangential stress we will say this is tau. So our objective is to determine these two unknowns with the help of this equation. So before we go further into the analysis, I should write a few expression for you which are needed actually. So what are those expressions? So I will start with here. First, sine theta. If you see this is theta, so sine theta will be height upon hypotenuse. So it will be CB upon AC. Cos theta. So cos theta will be base is AB upon AC, right? So these two values of sine theta or cos theta we are going to use. In addition to it, there are many expressions like sine 2 theta. This can be written as 2 sine theta cos theta. This will be used. Now there is expression for cos 2 theta as well. The first expression is cos square theta minus sine square theta. The other expression is 2 cos square theta minus 1, and the other expression is 1 minus 2 sine 2 theta. So you should keep these all in mind because all of them will be used here. This is again cos 2 theta. This is again cos 2 theta. This you should keep in mind. And moreover, what I am going to write is, now suppose if you take up this expression, so from here what you will get? Cos 2 theta is this. So that means 1 minus cos 2 theta is equals to 2 sine square theta. So you can write, sir, sine square theta value can be given as 1 by 2 minus 1 by 2 cos 2 theta. This is again an important relation because we are going to use this expression in future, right? In the same manner, if you look at this equation, so this equation we will get the value of cos square theta. So how? With this equation we can write 2 cos square theta is equals to 1 plus cos 2 theta. That means cos square theta can be given as half plus half cos 2 theta. So remember, these two are the important expression which will be used in this derivation, what we are going to see, right? So please note this first. Once you note this, then I will move further into the analysis. You need to please note it down. Note this. Now, before starting the analysis part, so force analysis, because this is along x-axis, this is along y-axis, but this tau and sigma, they are along some general axis. So that general axis we don't know. So what we are going to do, we are going to draw an axis in the manner so that it will help us to resolve the forces, because I have seen many students struggling to resolve the forces in this derivation. So here let us take the sigma axis in this manner is this. Let us take this is your sigma axis. So if this is the sigma axis, this angle will be 90 because sigma is perpendicular, right? If this is theta, so this must be 90 minus theta from the vertical. So in that case, like this is up to us how we are going to write. Right, we will write like this. Now this can be taken as positive tau, and this can be taken as negative tau. This can be taken as negative sigma, and this can be taken as positive sigma. That is up to you. Like whatever you want to write, you can write. This convention we can change as per our convenience. Now if you want, we can take this also negative and this positive. That is fine, no issue with that. Now why I am doing so? Because I want to know the components of forces along these two directions. That will be easy for us because ultimately we are interested in sigma and tau. So it's better for us that we resolve the components along these two axes. Now we need to look for that what angle we are looking for. So this sigma, how much angle it is making with the vertical. The sigma axis, how much, or if you can see this axis, this is tau axis and this is vertical theta. So simply you can just write here, so this is y-axis, this is sigma axis, this must be theta. All other angle will be, angle is theta. So what other angle you can write theta? This and this. If this is theta, this must be theta. In that case, if this is theta, this will be 90 minus theta, and this is 90. So this will be theta. And if this is theta, so this angle will also be theta. Like this we can have the angles with us. Now it's easy for us to take components, but I am going to take components along two directions simultaneously. You will see what is the importance and what is the benefit of that. You will see. So let us take, because we are going to take it for 2, so I am going to divide my space, right? Now first equation I am going to write summation of forces along, let us take, this is normal axis or sigma axis, 0, and here I will write summation of forces along tau axis is equals to 0. Now the convention already shows which one is positive. So now what we are going to do, the very first thing we will write, this sigma is acting in this direction. So this is negative sigma. So we will start with minus sigma. We will start with minus sigma. Now this is minus sigma, but what about the other component of forces, how we can resolve them? So in the same manner, this tau is also minus tau. So here if you write, this will be minus tau. Now why I am saying so simultaneously, because whenever we'll take up one component, now suppose for example I am taking this component. So if I resolve, so one component will be along sigma axis and one component of it will be along tau axis. So that is the reason simultaneously we can write both the components. Now let us have a look. Let us have a look. If sigma axis in this direction, sigma axis you can compare with this direction. Now this sigma x, if you want to resolve sigma x AB into t, then you can resolve. So this direction will be the positive sigma axis, so it will be plus component and cos component. At the same time, this will be the negative component and sine component. So you will write immediately, sir, this is plus sigma x into AB into t, and obviously here also we need to multiply by the area. We have not multiplied. This tau multiply by AC multiply by t, and this sigma multiply by AC multiply by t. So this also we need to write here, sigma AC t. I'll write it again. This is minus sigma into AC into t. Minus sigma into AC into t plus sigma x AB t. Now this will be cos theta. So if this is along sigma cos theta, so along tau it will be minus. So here tau into AC into t minus sigma x AB t sine theta. So this is one force which we have resolved. Now this is important for us. The sigma x AB into t force, it will have the components, same component we will get for this tau xy into CB into t. So immediately we will write that also here, plus tau xy into CB into t cos theta minus tau xy into CB into t into sin theta. Now if this we have got cos theta, so other component will be sin theta for sure, but anyway we will check that. Now this sigma y, so sigma y is acting in this direction, so it means if you take components of it, so along positive tau you will get cos component of this sigma y, along positive sigma you will get sin component of sigma y. So we will write now plus sigma y, not x, sigma y. And if we are looking for sigma, so look at this, this is sigma y into CB into t, and in this direction this is positive and sine component. write this into sine of theta. Now in the same manner we'll write here, this will also be positive sigma y CB t, and this will be cos theta. This component along tau will be cos, this component along sigma will be sine. Done. Exactly in the same manner we will get the component of this tau xy, because it is also vertical. So we will write here this as plus, I'll write here plus tau xy, then AB into t into sine theta, and here we'll write plus tau xy into AB into t sine theta equals to 0, This will be the equation for us, right? This will be the equation for us. Now we need to simplify this, right? So the very first thing which we can do is to cancel out the t value, because t is everywhere, here, everywhere there is t. So in this also t, everywhere we have t value, right? Now what we can do here, we can divide by AC. Total equation we can divide by AC. So we'll get this as AC, get this as AC, we'll get this as AC, this as AC, this also AC. Here also we'll divide by AC, this divide by AC, this divide by AC, this also divide by AC, and this also divide by AC. So what is the use of this dividing by AC? We know that by looking at this, we have already written sine theta is equals to CB upon AC and cos theta is equals to AB upon AC. So now wherever the terms are AB upon AC, we will replace by cos theta, and CB upon AC we will replace by sine theta. So now this sigma we can put to the right hand side, so we'll get sigma is equals to, now sigma x, this is AB upon AC, that is cos theta into cos theta. So write cos square theta plus sigma y, this is CB upon AC, so sine theta, so we'll write sine square theta, and then what comes next, this tau xy sine theta cos theta, tau xy cos theta sine theta, so that is 2 tau xy sine theta cos theta. So we will directly replace it by plus tau xy sine 2 theta. See, the equation has got simplified in this manner, right? Here again the same thing. Here if tau you put that side, tau will be equals to minus sigma x, and then it will be AB upon AC is cos theta. So what we can write cos theta, we will divide it by 2, multiply by 2, then it will become sine 2 theta. In the same manner there is plus sigma y, right, plus sigma y by 2, and again multiply 2, divide by 2, you will get sine 2 theta, and there is tau xy, so write tau xy this minus CB upon AC, CB upon AC is sine theta, get sine square theta plus tau xy cos square theta. So this term is actually easy for us to simplify. Now we can write tau is equals to, now minus this sigma x minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2, this is to be kept in bracket, this value is multiplied by sine 2 theta, and here this will be plus tau xy, because cos square is 2 theta. So this is the final expression which we are getting for our tau value. We have got this expression, this is the final expression which we are getting for our tau value. Now look at this, for this part we can simplify, but again it will take time for us to write. So remember the formulas which I have told you, cos square theta and sin square theta. So you need to put those formulas back here and see what happens to this equation, right? So once you put those equations here, you will come to know that this is sigma is equals to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 and integration rate cos 2 theta, and then plus tau xy sine 2 theta. So this is the equation which we are getting for our sigma, right? Now this equation is sufficient to get the value of sigma at any given angle theta. See, this sigma x is known, sigma y is known, and tau xy is also known. We have initiated from that state of stress where sigma x was given, sigma y was given, and tau xy was given. So once those given values are there with you, now you know the sigma value for any given angle theta, right? The same thing is to be done with tau. With tau also, if you want to know shear stress value, we can go for any angle theta and you will get the value of tau. What is the shear stress at that plane? But our objective was to find out when this sigma will be maximum. We were supposed to find out when this sigma will be maximum. So how we can do that? Just note it down first. Please note it down because I need to rub the board. Please note this.